was just a little lost there for a second, but I'm back. Okay, I'm excited. I just, like I said before, I've been reading these. I haven't had anybody working with me in quite some time, and so I've been reading all of these on my own. Just to myself, sometimes out loud, sometimes in my head. It's just really nice to have someone to share this with, so I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Now, this first story that I wanted to tell you is a little more calm, so I'm going to have to relax and not be all bouncy like I was for the introduction. That's not my personality. I'm esteemed and very, how do you put it? I'm an upstanding citizen. I don't get very excited about things very often. It's actually below me, of course, as you could probably tell from my bubbly person. Okay, maybe I'm making it up. I'll relax a little bit for this story, so I hope that you enjoy it. It's a bit of an interesting one, so to say, especially since this will be your first time hearing about something like this. So brace yourself, sit down, relax. The seat that you're in is very comfortable, or at least I hope is comfortable. Is it to your comfort? I hope it's to your comfort. If it's not, that's not my fault. That's beyond me. I couldn't do anything about it. I'm sorry. Let me tell you about what was captured by one of the gates in the region of Alabara. Now, Alabara is a desert region in the world of Luviere. Vast, vast deserts. Extremely hot in the day, extremely cold at night. But unlike most deserts, this one had a gate. This gate caused some very interesting things to happen. Mainly, you know what? Let's rewind a little bit. Let me introduce you to our main character. Interestingly enough, his name never appears in the book, so we're just going to have to call him the merchant. Now, from what was gathered, the merchant used to travel from city to city, village to village, within the region of Alabara, which means he had to cross the desert in intervals to get from place to place. Now, in a normal region that had no gate, this would just be a normal thing. You could travel whenever seemed fit for you, day or night, whichever worked for you, depending on if you had magical gear with you, or you had enough shelter, enough warmth, or whatever it was. If you're good at your job, you could travel when you wanted to through these deserts, and he could in any other region. But in Alabara, the desert at night was a little bit different. The problem was creatures born of the sand would come out at night. There were tales of them for as long as time, but unfortunately for the residents and the people that lived surrounded by this desert, these were not just tales. So what happened? Well, the merchant, as much as he was obviously a salesman that went from place to place selling his wares, he was also a community person. He was loved dearly by his community. He was loved dearly by his family, his children, his extended family. Everybody around him loved him, including in the towns surrounding his own. He would travel from town to town, staying in one for the night and then moving his way to the other ones as times passed until he got back to his own. And when he came home, he would always come with bearing gifts, food, clothing, spices, all sorts of different things, different magical materials and qualities to give to people. He always seemed to remember and know exactly what everybody needed, even if they didn't realize it themselves. He would always have something for somebody, and he would surprise them. He was truly a giver. Absolutely wonderful gentleman. And in some of these stories, this would be the moment where you'd be like, but then it took a dark turn. He was evil, and he did all sorts of dark things in despair. No, not in this story. No. He was actually good. Which again, quite amazing, honestly, considering the types of stories and people that we have to deal with on a daily basis in our own lives. It's nice to know that somebody was actually a wonderful person, right? Right? I think it's right. Okay. So what happened? Well, one day, on his way back to his own village, he was traveling through the desert as he normally would when he found that he was a little bit behind in time. The sun would be setting soon, but he assumed at the pace that he was going, he would get back to his village before the night broke. Unfortunately, he did not anticipate his wheel breaking. This was a disaster. What was he supposed to do? Just stay out there in his merchant's tent in the middle of the night when creatures were going to come? See, he was good at his job. He'd never even seen a creature before. This had never happened. He'd heard of them, but he'd never seen them. He'd never felt them. Nothing. Every once in a while, if he left a town a little bit too early and the sun hadn't fully cracked over the horizon, in those moments he would feel a slight chill, but it would quickly go away as the sun came up. That wasn't happening this time, as the sun was going down. He thought to himself, okay, I can either walk back to the town from before, but if I leave my wares here, then I'll have nothing to give back to my family, to my friends, to my community. What should I do? So he decided, I will use some of the items in my cart and I will try to fix my wheel. So try he did. But unfortunately, as things go, it didn't work out for the best. This was not faring well for him. The sun continued to lower, seemingly at a rapid pace. He was running out of time. What was he going to do? Okay, relax. I can do this. I must have a magical item somewhere that can fix this. I can do something. Oh my god, what am I supposed to do? I need to see my family again, he thought to himself. I mean, honestly, this is pretty much what most of us would think in a moment like this. This was a disaster. He's in the middle of a desert that is known for its demons, its monsters that come out at night, and the night is falling, and he's there stuck with no shelter, only his cart. What would you do? Well, what he did was prepare. I can tell you right now that I'm a bit of a fighter, I suppose, but even I might have prepared myself for death, but not him. No. He had something to fight for. All the people that he cared about, all the people that he loved, and the people that loved him, he felt he had to get back to. So he found some magical weapons within his cart, and he took them out and he prepared to use them, but not being of a magic background himself, these weapons would not do too much for him. And that's even if he could wield them properly. Sure, he could pick them up, but could he cast a spell with any of these tools? Who knows? We didn't really get to find out, because just as he finished his preparations, night finally fell, and things changed fast. Immediately, a chill fell over everything. The light from the moon seemed to just disappear as clouds rolled in and the ground became icy. The sand was glistening like frost in the morning. He couldn't tell if it was actually frozen or if it was just an illusion. He stood there, scared, but decided at this point, maybe a little bit too late. I need to get home. I'm going to try to get home. So he took one of his weapons and he started to walk towards where he thought that he lived. It was so dark out that it was hard to even navigate or know directions, but he just assumed that if he kept walking, if he kept trying, he would have to make his way at least close to home. He could find something. He had to get home. if at least he was alive, then he could continue to bless the people in his community, selfless to the end. So he started to walk, but when a predator hunts, they have certain mechanisms, certain things that they'll do to make your life harder as the prey. And when it comes to magical sand beasts formed of the sand, they had a lot at their disposal, considering everything around him was sand. One of the first things he felt was a chill in the air, but not a dry chill. He could handle dry cold. This was frigid and wet. The air was cold and wet. Now, if you know anything about living in a region where it's cold and wet, you know that the first thing you feel that in is your joints. And he felt that deep in his joints, his knees, his elbows, his shoulders stiffened up as he continued trying to walk. Everything creaking and aching as he tried to move his way through this desert, the sand feeling deeper and deeper against his feet, almost like a thick snow, keeping him locked into place, his joints aching like he had arthritis for years, but he'd never had arthritis before. What was happening? He knew that his time was probably near. He could hear the sounds of something dark, things that were dark, things in the darkness just out of view, cackling and making all sorts of strange sounds. He held his weapons close to his chest and thought, I will not go out without a fight. If there's one last thing that I'll do in this situation, I will at least die fighting. But just at that moment, he noticed a little flicker of light in the distance. He thought to himself, I've walked these deserts so many times, so many times. I know a mirage when I see one. This must be my life flashing before my eyes. This must be the final moment before I finally see the end. And that is the light that I am to walk through. This was what was in his heart. This was what he truly believed, and he was sad. He didn't want to die yet. He had so much to do and so many other people that relied on him. He just felt so guilty that now was the time that he was going to depart this world. So he continued on forward, knees hurting, arms aching, shoulders hurting, his chest so deep with the pain. He made his way through. But as he got closer, the light got bigger. And it seemed to be moving towards him too. Is this it? Is this the end for me? He thought to himself. No. He heard or felt or something from the light. What? He thought to himself, how is this light speaking? Is this... I am called many things. The light responded to his thoughts. I am called the light, the truth, but I'm also called karma. Karma. He'd heard of this before. I mean, most of us have heard of it here in this land, but within that land, karma was a force, but it was more of a legend of a force, right? Like you would tell someone, like, you know, you do something good and karma will come and repay you, or if you do something bad, karma will also repay you. But it was seen as a force and seen more as like a deity of some sorts, but nobody believed in it. Everybody just used it as a term to make people want to either do something good or to feel better when they were wronged. But here he was, surrounded by this light, and it was telling him that it is karma. There was not much else he could do but just trust the light. Either way, he was either going to die from the cold, die from the demons within the cold, or die from this ball of light that was now trying to convince him that it was the force called karma. So he chose to believe in that last minute, that last moment of time that he had. He chose to believe in this thing called karma. As soon as he decided to truly believe, everything changed. And I mean that. The feeling inside the light changed from just warmth to power. But it wasn't just power alone. It was mixed with things. It was mixed with happiness and joy and thankfulness, and he could feel the smiles of the people that he had seen so many times. He could feel the excitement of his children when he walked into town after being away for a month. He felt that excitement of the people in all the other villages that he traded goods for, even though he was obviously getting a bad deal. All of these things that he did, all of the good that he did, he felt them within this light. And while these thoughts and these feelings and these emotions and everything was building up, the power of the light itself expanded. It became so powerful. It became so strong. He could hear the ice crackling and shattering. He could hear the screams and the cries and the moans of agony from the demons outside, just barely, as he was so engrossed with all of the wonderful things he was feeling. But he could hear them. And then, just like that, after coming down from his euphoric high, the light faded and disappeared. He didn't quite know where he was or what he was doing or anything of the matter. He was very confused. It had been a long night. He thought maybe I was actually in the other village this whole time. I just had a nightmare. I would never try to do what I did in this dream. Clearly not. But that's when he realized he was actually at the entrance of his own village. And the sun was just coming up above the horizon. Did that really happen? He thought to himself. And he turned around. And behind him he noticed that his cart was there, filled with wares, but more than what he remembered, enough to keep his family and his friends safe and provided for months, maybe even years to come. And also, the wheel was fixed. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe he drank too much ale on his way out of town and passed out and didn't realize. But then where did all of this stuff come from? Some of these items he could never have gotten on his own. Most of the people within these villages and towns within the Alabara region would not be able to even get their hands on. This was a collection of things from everywhere. It was just confusing and overwhelming, but he decided to put that all to the back of his mind. He thanked karma for assisting him, regardless of if it was real or not. Even though it did feel like a dream, he chose to believe that this dream was actually a reality. And although he was given this gift to provide for everybody in his village and in his direct region for so much time to come, the good in him could not stop him from continuing what he did, as he enjoyed blessing everyone. So after spending a few weeks with his family and enjoying the joys of being alive, he packed up his cart And he made his way back into the desert to go and bless more families and more people across the region of Alabar. And that is where the recordings stop. I really, really enjoyed learning about him. It was probably one of the first books that I found, and I don't know much else. I don't know if he's still alive. I don't know of the time period where this came from. I have no idea. In my heart, I truly hope that he's still alive and that he is still traveling back and forth. Maybe we'll run into him one day within the main stories that we decode. But anyways, that's everything for tonight. So I really, really hope that you enjoyed staying after and listening to this story with me. And if you did, well, there's always tomorrow, of course. I'm going to go upstairs and go and get some rest soon. So I will catch you tomorrow at work. Yes, right in the morning, bright and early as we do. Oh, yes, don't forget to turn the lights off. That's the little thumbs up button. Just over there. So yes, just don't forget to hit that, and I will catch you tomorrow. Okay. Have yourself a good one, and good night. Drive safe.